I wanted my fiancé to have a kid with my father, but she got grossed out when I told her. Am I weird? Plus 2 updates. My fiancé, 22F, and I, 21F, have been doing some future planning lately. We're set to get married in the spring next year, and we know we both want kids, so we sat down and talked about how we'd like to make that happen. She's okay with adopting, but I'm not for a variety of reasons, and we determined that the option that makes us both the happiest is getting a donor. It's extremely important to me that the baby be genetically related to both of us. Since she's not in contact with her family as they don't support her, the only way baby would be related to both of us is if she carries the child and the donor comes from my side of the family. I am an only child, and have no uncles or male cousins, of an appropriate age. The only way we could do this is if my dad, 51M, is the donor. I figured he would be excited to help us have the family we've always dreamed of, and I talked it over with him and he was totally on board. He said he'd let my mom, 52F, know we were planning on adding to our family. Everything is ready to go on our end whenever we decide to start trying. I thought it was a really beautiful way to unite our sides of the family, and I know my dad felt the same, but to my surprise my fiancé was really against it. She laughed at me at first, which confused me because we were having a serious conversation, and then she asked if I was joking. When I said I wasn't, her face immediately dropped. She literally looked disgusted. She said that would be really weird, as our baby would be my sibling, and that she wasn't comfortable with that in any way, shape or form. My dad has stepped in a bit for her because of the lack of support in her family, and has become a secondary sort of father figure for her, which she brought up. She said having his baby felt wrong. She said it wouldn't feel like a medical procedure or fertility help, it would feel intimate. That's insane. I don't see how it's different from any other donor, other than actually meaning something to us. I am honestly kind of insulted. This is a rejection of my family as well as me, and the fact that she refused to even consider made me feel overruled in something that's supposed to include both of us. I can't see myself having a connection to a baby that isn't related to me. It wouldn't be my baby, just a baby I'm taking care of. Even if she says she doesn't feel the same, I think she'd have a hard time with it if it was the other way around and the baby wasn't related to her. This feels like our only option, and she shot it down without considering my feelings. This is really important to me. I'm worried we won't be able to compromise on this, and we'll never have kids, which would be a deal breaker for me. Additionally, this is also the cheaper option for kids. We wouldn't have to pay for a donor, which can cost a lot, and we wouldn't have to do expensive IVF stuff either, since if we get it from my dad, it can all be done at home. How am I supposed to deal with this? Update 1, 6 months later. Before I say anything else, I want to say thank you to those of you who responded to me with concern. Someone linked to a page on Emotionalin, and it was really eye-opening for me. A lot of people were quick to jump to judgment, so I really appreciate the few who were nice. I read all the comments, was shocked, and horrified, and hurt. It took a night to process, and then had another talk with my fiancé. Goes nearly without saying that we are taking a break right now while I figure some stuff out. We are still staying together, we still have plans to get married, but are seriously reconsidering kids and putting a lot of things on hold right now for both of our health. She's been a lot more hurt by this than I think I realized when I first posted. I don't want to get too deep into my family's issues, but I'm starting to realize that the way I was raised wasn't normal. I am an only child, but my parents always wanted a big family, like 5 or more kids. Unfortunately, for a bunch of reasons both monetary and otherwise, it never worked out. I think they always imagined they'd have the big family they wanted when I had kids, so they pushed me to do that every chance they got. My mom always says that being pregnant with me was the happiest she was. My parents had no idea I was thinking of at-home IUI, and my mom nearly went through the roof when I clarified. She said she wouldn't have even considered it if she knew I hadn't asked my girlfriend if she was sure yet, and that it was really stupid of me to not go for IVF. It was just a really thoughtless action on my part. It's still important to me that a future child either be blood related or be carried by me, so I think that if we ever have any in the future, I'll be the pregnant one so I can feel that connection. We weren't going to do that at first because I have a really stressful career path and it would have been smarter for my girlfriend to get pregnant, but I think it's the healthiest option for us. We're not serial killers, cultists, or into our family. It all sounded really reasonable to me. At the time, I had absolutely no idea that there would be this much disgust coming from everyone. I've decided the best thing for me is to go into therapy as soon as possible, and limit my contact with my parents for a while. They mean well and really love me, but I think I might need to figure some stuff out on my own. Update 2. I haven't logged on in months, so I hadn't realized people were wondering what happened with us. I had attempted to post an update months ago, but it and my original post were removed as spam. We are still together. Nobody is pregnant with my father's kid. In fact, I started therapy soon after the original post, and have now been no contact with my family for 3 months. I realized a lot of my perspective on the issue was caused by some really messed up ideas I was raised with. When I tried to bring that stuff up with my parents and possibly try to start family therapy, they went ballistic. At this point, if we do have kids, my parents might not ever meet those grandchildren. It wasn't a result my fiancé or I could ever have anticipated at the time of the original post, but that's just how the cookie crumbled. Looking back, I can definitely see where all the extremely disgusted reactions to my original post were coming from. I still think the attacks on my personal character were unwarranted. I think that a lot of people won't understand how being raised in a seriously dysfunctional family can impact your thinking until they deal with that themselves. The craziest stuff just felt normal to me. I wish I'd never let my parents get so personally involved in my relationships from the start. TLDR, we did not conceive a child with my father. We are still together after some time to think about things, and are still getting married next year. I've been in therapy, and am out of that family situation now. Am I wrong for wanting my husband to be by my side while giving birth to our child? I, 35F, am 7 months pregnant. I am married to a family medicine doctor, 35M, and we've been together 10 years. I'm reaching out to all of you to ask your advice on a fight my husband and I are having over our birth plan. My husband really wants to deliver the baby, which I can kind of understand. It's not uncommon for doctors to deliver their own kid. There is still an OBGYN there monitoring everything, and the doctor/father steps in at the last minute as mom is crowning to just catch the baby. My husband has, I guess, always dreamed of being the one to pull the baby out, while I pictured it very differently. I thought he would be up by my head, holding my hand and helping me through it. He says he will do that, but the easiest part is the very end where I won't need him anyway. He said if I really want someone there, his mom can step in. I've been on my own since I was a kid living in my car, so I don't have anyone I'd want in there with me except him. I don't really even want his mom in there. She's great, but he's my person. I know it would be cool for him to deliver our baby, but I really feel like I need him there. I personally didn't want our doctors to know he was a doctor, because as soon as any of my doctors, or even our vet, finds out he's a doctor, they talk exclusively to him. I don't even want him to go the prenatal appointments anymore because no one talks to me. They all talk to him, and I can't ask my questions to anyone but my husband at home. But he's already told everyone he'll be delivering his first baby. I guess I don't want this because I wanted him to be there as a husband and a father, and not a doctor. I see him as a doctor 95% of the time, and I wanted to experience this with my husband, and not my husband the doctor. I wanted him to be there for me as this is my first birth and I'm terrified. He just keeps telling me I'll be fine. He pulled in friends and family who also don't understand my POV. They said this is his first child too, and to just let him have this since I had the honor of being pregnant. I just really wanted him to hold my hand all the way through it, and be able to share this experience as parents and people instead of a medical professional. I was hoping we could see the baby at the same time and just be equals in this. Am I being selfish for wanting this to be my way?
I intentionally serve my wife less food than everyone else. Her sister caught me and exposed me to our friends. AITA, my wife, F25, and I, M29, have been married for a year, but together for 4. Ever since I met her, she has had a weird habit surrounding food. I noticed at our very first date. Instead of eating equally everything on her plate, she eats the sides first, then the main, and then drinks her drink. I eventually asked why she does this and she said she doesn't know, but she can't stomach eating a bite here or a bit there of different things. She doesn't like when different things get in her stomach at the same time. Because of this she often gets full before she even eats half of the main, and then she gets hungry later on or upset because she couldn't taste the main food. Sometimes she wants to drink with everyone else, but she simply can't let herself. So now every time we make dinner, I serve her a lot less than what I think she will eat. That way she eats all the sides, then gets to the main and actually can eat it, try it, and enjoy a drink. If she is hungry still she has no problem doing the same thing twice. It's just a quirk she has, it doesn't bother me. This past weekend we hosted dinner for her sister's husband, and a mutual couple friend. I saw her sister eyeballing her plate as I gave it to her. but I assumed she also knew the food thing and maybe that's why. Well, after dinner, of which my wife ate her first plate of food, her drink, and then a bit more of a second, her sister approached me as I was doing dishes. She asked me why I was limiting my wife's food. I kind of laughed because I was surprised by this and said I'm not, and explained what I said earlier. Her sister told me that was unacceptable and that my wife was allowed to eat how and what she wanted. I explained I absolutely agreed, this is just something really small that helps her. But her sister was pissed and even took it as far as telling the other couple. I cleared it up with that couple who said they didn't care, nor did they believe I is starving my own wife. AITA for doing this?